about stuff.
Yes, time to talk about stuff. Welcome everybody to the first episode of the yet unnamed B-Movie podcast. I'm Mike Keltner. You may know me from the Sega Stuff podcast. And I'd like to introduce my friend.
Hi, I'm Malaria. I have a blog. It sucks. So,
Your blog does not suck.
It sucks.
It is clearly probably at least as high quality as the blog that myself and Seth work on. So, you know.
Yeah, except for I start like a two-parter, and then I fall asleep and never finish it.
It's okay. I've got posts talking about how I'm going to post about something that I never posted about. It happens.
We suck.
yeah, we're terrible people. But that is why we're podcasting, because it is way, way easier.
Yeah, you hook up a microphone and press record, and then internet fame.
Exactly.
Internet fame.
But yeah, this is I wanted to do a podcast about B movies, which are just one of my favorite kind of movies. And there's a lot of kinds of, there are a lot of different subgenres in B movies, I guess. But the term this is from Lloyd Kaufman's book, All I Need to Know About Filmmaking I Learned from the Toxic Avenger. He said that the term B-movie originated from when, back in the day, whenever they would have the high budget movie they're trying to sell to a drive-in, they would also include in the deal the kind of lower budget movie that nobody's interested in, because they're like, well, if you want this movie, you've got to take this other movie that nobody wants to see. That way they sell the kind of crappy movie that people didn't want to see.
I've worked at a drive-in for 12 years, and I've never heard this. I think Lloyd Kaufman might be full of shit.
Yeah,
he's crazy, and he's really old, so maybe it was before my time.
This was from the fucking... I guess this means we're an explicit podcast, or we edit. But this is from like the 60s and 70s, like when the drive-ins were king and they were everywhere. This is what he says, anyways. I trust Lloyd Kaufman a lot, but I'm a fanboy, so yeah.
He called you Marge.
No, he called you Marge.
Maybe.
Well, he called.
He called one of us Marge.
Yeah, and if you're not aware, Lloyd Kaufman is the president of Troma, one of my favorite B-movie producing companies. But yeah, the general aspects of a B-movie are just... They're a lot of times they're called exploitation movies. They exploit certain things. A lot of times it's sex, gore, goofy humor. They just kind of... They don't have great writing and storytelling, so they exploit what they have. And some of these over the years have just been amazing films. They're the kind of so bad they're good movies.
We'll give Lloyd Kaufman props, because if it wasn't for him, then you would have no South Park.
That is true.
He produced Trey Parker's first movie, Cannibal, which is my favorite movie ever.
It's a very good movie. And, without them, without that, they might not have grown up to be, well, not grown up, they might have not blown up to be so big with South Park and everything. Lloyd Kaufman gave them a chance because he thought their movie should be seen. And so, the rest is history, I guess.
If you love South Park, but you hate B-movies, go stand in the corner.
Yes, please put on the dunce cap. But yeah, so...
So, what was your first B-movie?
See, I've been thinking about this recently, and I don't know... It's the thing that I keep coming across is I'm not sure exactly how to define completely B-movies, because there's just so much that I roll into that. But what I think of when I think of my first B-movie is Ernest Scared Stupid.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah. Ernest Scared Stupid is this... well, first of all, if you're not familiar with Ernest,
then go stand in the corner.
Exactly. He's this... Was it Jim Varney, I think it was?
Oh, we have the internet.
We do have the internet.
We can find out.
there's these series of movies called Ernest Goes to Camp, Ernest Goes to Jail, Ernest... I don't remember the original ones, but one of them is called Ernest Scared Stupid. And it is about these trolls or goblins that come...
It's a troll. It's a tree troll.
Tree troll. These trolls are let out around Halloween, and they run rampant in this town, and Ernest has to save the day.
It is Jim Varney, by the way.
Jim Varney. Nice. But, yeah, these goblins are just crazy. All of the characters are... Yeah. Sorry, ever since Troll 2, I always think goblin.
He's a tree troll. And there's a witch, and she's like the doomsayer of the town, but she ends up saving the day by giving them the key to murder all the trolls.
I don't know.
But the trolls would turn the kids, like if the troll touched the kids, he would turn them into like little wooden statues of the kids.
That was awesome. I remember that.
I don't want to give the whole movie away.
Well,
because you should go see it.
There's a statute of limitations, though. It is so many years old now. But
well, I don't want to give away the ending. I won't tell them how.
Fair enough.
They killed the troll in the end. They don't kill the troll in the end. How could they kill the troll in the end? How could a... What is this rated? G? It's not even rated.
It's not rated.
Oh, PG.
Oh.
No, they can't not kill the troll in a PG movie.
I'm trying to find the year.
91.
91.
1991.
So that movie is quite old now, like 21 years old? I think that's about right.
Yeah, you could do math. I was going to say 11. I can't do math.
Yes.
That's a lie.
She's quite good at math. But, yeah, so that, it's just a fun little movie. The acting's not great, but it's not horrible. There's a monster in it, and it's an amazing looking little creature, and it turns people into...
And the treehouse that the kids built. I was so jealous of this treehouse my entire life. Still am. It is my goal in life to get a tree as awesome as the tree that they built this treehouse in, and build an awesome treehouse in the tree.
I think that we have to do that. That's a goal now. I've always wanted an amazing treehouse. You know, just have a fort.
Yeah. You know, the park down the street used to have a fort, and then they made it safe, so they took the fort out.
Wow.
Made me sad.
It's a travesty. You know, some lives were saved, but at what cost? But yeah, so that was the first B movie that I can remember. What about you, Malaria? What did you get started on?
Well, you know, I thought Ernest was just a regular movie, but like I said, it's not really clearly defined. My parents hated it, so probably was a B movie. I watched all the Ernest movies, but my first B movie is probably Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness, that's...
And, you know, it features Bruce Campbell, the B movie god of godliness, who I met, and he's awesome, and he signed his book for me, and also he signed my Ash.
Yeah? I'm so jealous of you. I remember this day clearly. I had to go pick my parents up from the airport, so I was not able to make it to the Bruce Campbell signing, and my life is forever worse for it.
I can forever hold this above your head. If
Yes.
I ever need any money, I can be like, Mike, you want to buy this book from me? It's signed by Bruce Campbell.
Like, I will buy that for so many monies.
All the monies. I have $4. That's all the monies.
But yeah, Army of Darkness is awesome, and, well, like, my love of B-movies, I have an Army of Darkness and a Toxic Avenger tattoo. Those are the two tenements of B-movies we've talked about so far in this podcast.
In fact, we are done talking about B-movies forever.
Yeah,
because we've already talked about the greatest, Ernest and Army of Darkness and Toxic Avenger. And Cannibal.
Yeah.
So, we're done. Probably.
Bye.
Not really.
No, there's so many to talk about, but, yeah, Army of Darkness was one of my earlier ones. I think the first one after Ernest that I can remember is probably Rocky Horror, which is one of the all-time, like, famous, long-lasting B movies.
Like, if you've never heard of another B movie, you've probably heard of Rocky Horror. And you probably associate it with weird people.
And that's us.
That's probably very accurate.
We are here for you weird people.
Yes. You can't see my thumbs up. I'm a gesture speaker. Because I just fumbled that whole phrase. Good job. I'm a gesture. That's a hard word to say.
Gesture.
Yeah. Speaker. I'm waving my hands in front of my face.
Oh, yeah. You can expect many more gestures that we will vaguely describe to you on this podcast. Yeah, that's a little bit about the origin of B movies, and I was about to say origin of podcasts.
My roommates are laughing. You might be able to hear them.
But
we're hilarious.
So I guess, yeah, we've described B movies. We've talked about the first ones we've seen, and then I guess why make the podcast? I'm 27 years old.
We're old.
We are old, and there are a few things in this world that I love as much as just sitting down and watching a ridiculously gory movie full of, like, raunchy humor and boobs.
Oh, you know what else got me into B movies?
What's that?
Mystery Science Theater.
Mystery Science Theater.
I wrote to those guys, and they wrote back to me.
That is awesome.
Your B movie producers and actors are amazing because they care about you because you directly pay their salaries.
Yeah. And that is one of the most awesome things about B movies. I have reached out to and contacted Lloyd Kaufman.
About 37 times this year.
Well, this was actually back in college, but yeah, 37. Actually, I haven't seen Lloyd Kaufman yet this year.
That's true. We're going to see him twice next month.
We are. But, yeah, we're kind of big on the con circuit. We have no life.
You know, no life.
But, yeah, so, one movie that we should delve into further, I think, is Cannibal the Musical, your favorite. It's an amazing film, and it's got a cool story behind it.
It's a true story
that's
been exploited into this awful, terrible musical, but it's funny.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
So, yeah, it is worth noting that it is a musical.
And true.
And it's based on Alfred Packer, this coal miner, I believe. And
no, gold miner.
Gold miner, okay.
Gold miner.
Gold miner out in the
out in Utah.
Utah, and
he was trying to lead a group back to Colorado.
Exactly.
And they got horribly lost, and they killed each other. Yes. And hilarity ensued.
But yeah, this was the first movie by Trey Parker and Matt Stone. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay, I
instead
mixed
of Trey Stone and Matt Parker,
which
that
I
would
say
be wrong.
all the time. But yeah, it's their first movie.
And if Trey Parker's listening to this, I want to have your babies.
She really does.
Back then. But you're old now.
Sorry, Matt Stone, but
I'd have Matt Stone's babies too. Back then. But you're old now.
So, I guess the moral of the story is no old babies.
No old babies. Because you know if you have babies as an old person, your babies will be like 30. You don't want old babies.
Yeah, you don't want them to come out wrinkly because they're already...
That's why you have 30-year-old friends that live in their mom's basement. Because they mated with old people. But people don't age. They come out that way.
Exactly. So if anybody out there wants to have children, just remember to have sex with somebody young.
But not too young, because that's illegal.
Get to know the legal age of consent in your
Between
local area.
18 and 30. Or else you'll have old babies. Or retarded babies. That's not PC, I'm sorry.
There's too much PC in this world.
You'll have poor babies if you have sex with children, and then you'll go to jail. Forever. Let's not talk about this anymore.
So, I think Cannibal, yes. The story of Alfred Packer and his crew, and they have to eat each other.
And then he has to go back to town and explain that they had to do it for survival. And they're like, where is everybody else? Did you eat everybody? But the musical makes it seem like he did it in self-defense.
Yeah.
And then for self-preservation. So they went crazy. They all attacked each other. And then they're like, oh, this guy's dead. And we're hungry. Let's eat him. It's not like they were like, let's eat him. Oh, murder. No.
No. Yeah, it was an amazing little film. It started off as a trailer. Trey Stone and Matt Parker had made the trailer, I think, to farm around to companies, see if anybody really wanted to.
Oh, I thought it was this college capstone. There are 2 rumors.
I had read that it
Pick
started
which
off
one's
as a
true.
trailer. So
Let's take a poll.
So let me just go ahead and say right now that I do not know everything. Well, that's pretty obvious.
But
so,
I do.
Yes.
Not really.
So some of this information may be misleading, but...
And we might just be making it up. There might not even be a Cannibal the Musical. Just look for Cannibal and be disappointed.
That would be sad.
It would be sad, because there is one. Go see it. It's amazing. It's free on the internet. I think Google has it.
Yeah.
Like the whole film, just on Google videos. The whole thing. It's in every video store.
I think it's actually on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Or at least the songs are. I own a copy. I just went to a used DVD store and it was there. They had like 5 of them.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was a good movie, and
we're gonna talk about all the good B movies and then not have anything else to podcast over. We might have to expand it to other nerdy things, like Like we can go into like the horror genre or like we can keep it like bad movies, but like horror and sci-fi, and maybe talk about like video games every once in a while, or comic books.
I do like that idea.
We'll have to segue into it though, so you don't notice.
Exactly, and ignore this whole planning section.
Oh
right
yes,
here.
you will forget the plan. Watch my spinny watch with your ears.
Theater of the mind.
Close your eyes. You are getting very sleepy. You will forget the conversation that we just had, and you will play the podcast again and again and again. And again.
I want to talk a little bit about Evil Dead 2, which is one of my favorite B movies.
Which was a remake, not a sequel, to Evil Dead 1.
Yes, so we've talked about Army of Darkness already on this podcast. Army of Darkness is actually Evil Dead 3.
Or 2.
They're an interesting...
Watch all of them, not in order, it doesn't matter.
They're an interesting couple of movies. I actually saw them in order of 3, 2, 1.
So did I.
So, yeah, it doesn't make a lot of difference, but what happened is Sam Raimi and friends went out and they made themselves a nice little horror movie out in the woods.
And if you don't know who Sam Raimi is, he made Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire ones.
Yes, and he is also about to unleash the Hobbit onto the world.
No, that's Peter Jackson.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Peter Jackson did the original trilogy. Sam Raimi is directing The Hobbit.
I don't believe you. Internet, you are my friend. Director Peter Jackson.
What?
Peter Jackson's doing The Hobbit. I told you, Sam Raimi's not doing it. You're just mad.
I am mad.
Sam Raimi did, what is that movie that he just did where, there's a goat and there's like
Drag Me to Hell.
A quarter. Yeah.
Drag Me to Hell.
There's a goat and a quarter? Drag Me to Hell. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, why does this IMDb app not work?
Because you should be on the real internet and not on your iPad.
But the iPad is...
Not the real internet. It's Apple's version of the internet for beginners.
Alright. I do swear that at one point Sam Raimi was supposed to direct The Hobbit.
He's wrong.
That has apparently not transpired. It really doesn't matter because I don't intend to watch it.
You know, just because it happens in your head doesn't mean it's not true. Dumbledore taught me that.
Exactly.
And maybe it's true for you.
You know, I choose to live in a pretty vast world of fantasy, so...
So, Army of Darkness, or Evil Dead 2.
Evil Dead 2, okay. So, yeah, the first Evil Dead movie, they filmed it out in the woods, and it was kind of just a average demons possess people in the woods movie, you know, with the very handsy tree.
Tree.
And then you get your hands on Evil Dead 2, and they remake the entire first movie in the first 5 minutes of the second movie. And so you're like, what the hell? And then they just go on to make an even more awesome version of Evil Dead. Everything that happened in the first one happened in the first 5 minutes.
It's like it did so well to begin with that they went back and tried to do it even better.
Yeah. And in the second one, it became a bit more... There's a bit more of a slapstick feel to it.
The hand thing happened in it.
Yes, yes. The main character, played by Bruce Campbell, the B-movie god, yes, is named Ashley, referred to most of the time as Ash. He at one point gets his hand possessed, and he has to chop it off. And
but not like that movie Idle Hands. That was lame. This is totally just like one scene of evil hand.
Yeah, yeah. And from there, he has to strap it. He gets to a point where he straps a chainsaw onto his stump, and awesomeness ensues.
Yeah, chainsaw in one stump and shotgun in the other.
But yeah, it's...
And then he just kicks all the evil's ass.
But yeah, so Evil Dead 2 just, it has this perfect mix of comedy and horror. It's just like a timeless classic. It's a bit more horror than Evil Dead 3.
It's rated UR, which means you are going to love it.
Exactly. It's but yeah, it's just a long-time favorite. Well, only as long as I've seen it, which was second. Well, I watched that one in the right order, but yeah, it was
I probably saw it like 10 years ago. No, like 8.
So it was 2004 for me.
Yeah.
So that was... Yeah, it was not quite 10. It was about 8 years.
So, other things that Bruce Campbell has done, according to the Internet Movie Database. If you've seen Burn Notice, that show on USA, he's in that.
He plays a character named Sam.
He does.
It's a very good show, actually, and it's amazing because it's weekly work for Bruce Campbell, a man who has not gotten as much popularity in movies in general as he ought to, because the man is funny, he's got a wide range, and an amazing butt chin. And
he was in a movie called White on Rice.
Yeah.
He was a voice actor for it.
Yeah, you will find Bruce Campbell in many...
Oh, he was in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Really?
Yeah, he was Mayor Shelbourne. Voice actor.
Nice.
Yeah. I think he was in the Bee movie. With the bee?
Yeah.
I think he was the bee.
No, that was Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh, was it?
Pretty sure.
It should have been Bruce Campbell.
It always should have been Bruce Campbell. Let's see here. What?
Oh, he was in Operation Hunger Force: movie film for theaters.
I did not know that.
He was Chicken Biddle.
Oh, okay.
He was in The Ant Bully as Fugax.
Let's see. one of the bigger things you might recognize him from is he was the evil ex-husband, or the cheating husband on Serving Sarah. Now, that's not the biggest movie in the world, but it's bigger than a lot of the others he's been in.
I think I've seen that. Maybe I have. He was in the Duck Dodgers TV series in 2003 as Pork Pigler.
But yeah, as you can tell, with a body of work like this, he is bound to end up with legendary status.
He was on Charmed. FBI Agent Jackman. He was in Spider-Man. With the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. He was actually the guy that gave Spider-Man his name in that movie.
Yeah.
Because he was going to be the human spider.
Yeah.
And then Bruce Campbell is like, that's stupid. Why don't you be Spider-Man?
Yeah.
And then he was also in Spider-Man 2, or so he says, as the usher at the movie theater. He's the only human that kicked Spider-Man's ass because he knocked him to the floor and he's like, you can't get in here without a ticket.
Yeah. And he was in Spider-Man 3 as the French concierge at this nice restaurant. And that one was pretty well played. It was quite a funny role.
He played in a movie. I don't remember what it was called, but he played... Oh, it was Bubba Hotep. And he played Elvis.
Yes.
Like, the Elvis who died in real life was an Elvis impersonator who he had hired to trade him places because he was just so tired of, being up on stage and stuff. And so he was in this nursing home, and he's, 90 years old in this nursing home, and he's all like, nobody believes that I'm really Elvis.
Yeah, and that was a pretty fun role. And
then he fights mummies.
Yeah, he does fight mummies. I believe he is with a elderly black man who believes he's JFK.
Yes, he is JFK.
That's right. So as you can tell, this is clearly cinematic gold.
Clearly. Yes, it is JFK.
Bruce Campbell was in a great deal of movies. Another good one is, I don't know if it's good, but there's a Sci-Fi Channel original movie called Alien Abduction.
That movie was not good. Not at all.
Bruce Campbell was good in it.
Yes, Bruce Campbell was good in it. But that movie was not good. Watch it and just fast forward to all the Bruce Campbell scenes and then never speak of it again.
Unless you're recording a podcast.
Yes. Actually, watch it. Go ahead. It'll give you material.
But yeah, so,
Alien Apocalypse. He was Ivan in that movie. He was also in The Man with the Screaming Brain. He was the main guy in that.
I think he directed that one.
I actually saw the premiere of that with him at the book signing, because he signed the books, and then we watched the movie together, and it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend, my best friend Kevin, went up there and asked him to write a note to his girlfriend, because his girlfriend was mad at him for going to see this instead of going up to see her. And he did. He said, "Don't be mad at Kevin." And then Kevin asked him to go to their wedding. And then later on, Bruce Campbell was being interviewed on some TV show like Dave Letterman or Conan or something for something. I don't know. And they asked him, what is the weirdest thing you've ever been asked at a book signing? And he said, this one guy asked me to go to his wedding.
That's
so
awesome.
that was really cool.
Also, in the realm of B movies, I'd like to talk about one of my other heroes. Now, it's hard for a man like me to have a favorite movie, because there's so many of them, and I love them all so much. Well, not all of them. Titanic and... yeah. But anyways.
Can't believe you just said Titanic. He meant the old Titanic that was actually made in 1912. He had a dream. That's what he's talking about. A dream of the old actual happenstance of the Titanic. He hasn't seen the movie with the people.
Yeah. I just tell myself that so I can sleep at night.
Well, you do live in a world of fantasy.
I do.
The guy fell off and hit the propeller, and that's why you saw it more than once.
Exactly.
That's why I saw it more than once. I was like, wow, that guy just...
No. Honestly, any man has a complete and utter out as to why they watched Titanic. There are boobs. Granted, it's...
The guy fell off the thing and hit the propeller. That's every guy's out.
Alright.
Because the boobs weren't that good.
The boobs weren't that good.
And they weren't in there that long.
Yeah. Well, nothing worth seeing was in there that long.
That's true.
It was a 2-hour movie. The 2 scenes that I liked.
All the people going, ah, we're gonna die.
Yeah, let's just talk about that for a second. Slowest boat sinking ever is like...
No, Deep Blue Sea.
Deep Blue Sea? I don't know.
Well, that wasn't a boat, but it was...
That's the one with the sharks, right?
Yeah, it's the one with the sharks and Cuba Gooding Jr. And Cuba Gooding Jr. is the only black man that has ever survived a horror movie.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Because I haven't seen very many black men survive horror films.
But yeah, so... But, yeah, the boat just sunk so slowly. Anyways, what I was saying was, it's hard to have a favorite movie. There's so many good ones. But growing up, I had 3 favorite directors. One is Quentin Tarantino, one is Kevin Smith, and one is Lloyd Kaufman. We've already talked about Lloyd Kaufman quite a bit. I would like to talk a little bit about Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith, back in 1994, I believe, recorded a little movie called Clerks. And it is, he made it for a budget of $37,000. And he got the money by scamming credit card companies. Basically, he was working at a convenience store, and he wrote a movie about working in a convenience store. But it just so happened to be so damn funny that Miramax picked it up, and it is one of the all-time cult classics as we speak, as we live and breathe now. It centers around these 2 guys, Dante and Randall, and they just slack off and torture customers.
Crappy job.
Yeah, torture customers at a crappy convenience store. And
it'll speak to you if you've ever had a job that you just hated.
Which, who hasn't?
Really, who hasn't?
And so yeah, it's a great little movie. It's in black and white because that's all they could afford.
It's had a sequel and a cartoon spinoff.
It has, and as much as I love the original Clerks, Clerks 2 is probably one of my all-time favorite Kevin Smith movies.
I just watched it yesterday at work.
Lucky.
Because what do you do at work at a job that you hate? You watch people hate their job.
Exactly. In the sequel, which is color, they work at a fast food restaurant now, and
which is completely not kosher because it's about Movie the Golden Calf.
Mm-hmm.
And Movie the Golden Calf now has a restaurant.
Exactly.
That sells little golden calf Happy Meals.
It's pretty.
Come to our Hindi where they can't serve meat because it's obviously Hindi.
They can't be Hindi just because they like the cow.
They worship cows.
But that's based on the biblical golden calf.
No.
Okay.
No. Maybe.
Movie The Golden Calf, if you're not completely aware, and one Kevin Smith movie called Dogma was built up as this idol that pulls worship away from God. And
wasn't he also like a kid's like Barney or?
Yeah, he's a character much like Barney.
And Smoochie.
Yes. Death to Smoochie is another good B movie.
Okay, we'll have to get back to movie.
Why do you want to talk about Death is Smoochie
No,
now?
no, we have to go back on topic before we go on any more tangents.
No, okay, so yeah, but Mubi is this golden calf, supposedly based on a biblical story. We won't bore you with that, but the angel of death rains death upon the CEO and the board of directors at the Mubi company.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon, indeed.
Indeed.
And that is in a Kevin Smith movie called Dogma.
That's actually where Matt Damon and Ben Affleck got their claim to fame. In my opinion.
Okay. I think it's technically Good Will Hunting.
No, that's just Matt Damon by himself.
Okay.
Them together is a Kevin Smith thing.
You know Ben Affleck's in Good Will Hunting.
No, he's not. He's not in anything that's any good.
Well, I will agree with that. Ben Affleck is highly overrated. But yeah. So anyways, in Clerks 2, this golden calf has its own restaurant now, and that is where Dante and Randall have found themselves. And there is a very interesting third act twist. I don't want to ruin it. Needless to say, if you're easily offended, don't watch anything by Kevin Smith.
Ever. Don't watch anything we suggest if you're easily offended.
Pretty much, yeah. If you're easily offended, this is not the show for you. But
some people are pussies and some people are dicks. We're not pussies.
But yeah, so Clerks 2, very good. Clerks 1, very good. Kevin Smith in general, he is the king of just dick and fart jokes. Highly recommend it. What are you looking up?
Oh, I closed out the internet and had to open it back up.
Ah, fair enough.
I'm stupid. Because I'm a woman. How do you internets? I am woman. This isn't like sandwich making.
Well, I'm pretty sure you can figure it out.
Oh, I'm back. I'm good. We got this.
Use your feminine
I'm an
wiles on the
IT
internet.
professional. I can internets.
I can internets as well.
Except on your iPad.
I can
Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods.
Go see it. Because it is amazing. If you are so tired of like just horror movies in general, go see Cabin in the Woods. Written by the Firefly guy.
Yep.
We all know his name. I don't have to say it.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I don't know if you can see it right now, but it is coming out on DVD and Blu-ray in September.
He also just wrote The Avengers. The movie, not the books. That can be attributed to Mr. Stan Lee.
So yeah, it obviously by a big profile guy, but definitely worth B-movie status. It's just an amazing tribute to all that is horror. And that's all I'm saying. Just go see it. It's a lot of fun. It's funny. It's gory.
You like all the characters. It's not like those movies where you're like, that guy's a dick. I hope he gets murdered. No, you're like, oh, don't murder that guy. For every guy.
Yeah, you will be so sad when everybody is dead. If everybody is to die, that is. But, yeah, Cabin in the Woods, I didn't know anything about it when I went to see it. I just knew, based on, honestly, Evil Dead and movies like it, that I think the Cabin in the Woods scenario is a lot of fun. That's all I knew going in.
It was the only thing out. Really, it was like Cabin in the Woods or nothing. Cabin in the Woods or some chick movie. Or, I don't even know what else came out then.
Yeah, and I'd probably...
And it was
already
like 3
seen...
months ago. I don't even remember anything else that was out at the time.
Yeah, I think it was before the Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
No clue. Cabin in the Woods actually has a kind of an interesting story behind it. It apparently got finished during the writer's strike a couple of years back, and for whatever reason, they weren't able to release it. I think it's been finished since like 2008, something like that. So it's actually kind of an old movie, but it was just released this year in 2012. So that's kind of sad.
Mm.
But it's a good thing that it got out because there's not a lot in the ways of truly individual. Oh God, I can't think of the word. Truly unique. There we go. Movies out there, and so it's really refreshing to see one.
Yeah, it's not just the same old story told over again in a different way. It's the same old story told over again in a different way, with a twist, but not an M. Night Shyamalan twist.
M. Night Shyamalan.
And you're just like, what the what? But they kind of lead you on at the beginning. Like, you know, like, as soon as a movie starts, you know that it's different.
Yeah.
It's not like they hold it back till the end and you're like, what's going on here? It's like, oh, this is happening. This is different. It'll be neat.
Exactly.
But it can't tell you anything about her to give the whole thing away.
Yeah. Honestly, the trailer gives a lot of it away, more so than I think would be.
Don't watch the trailer. Just go see it. Go see it. Or, at this point, rent it. Because it's not in theaters anymore.
It's sad. I've honestly been chomping at the bit, waiting for the DVD. Because I have not seen it since, like, May, probably.
I don't usually see movies 3 times in a row. And since I did work at the drive-in, I used to see movies for free. So I could have seen it for free. I actually went to a regular theater and paid to see this 3 times. That's a big deal.
And I think I did probably about the same thing. Which, the only other movie in recent memory that I can recall going to in theaters 3 times is Kevin Smith's Dogma. And that was, like, I think that's 1999 or 2000. I don't really know off the top of my head, but yeah, it's one of those really amazing experiences. Let's see here. So there's that.
There's that. And now on to this.
Yes, and now on to
We're all
this.
so mysterious, all alone in Paris, runs over your neighbor's dog. Great for
Your
a snack,
snack,
it fits on your back.
It's log. Please don't sue us, Spumco.
They're not gonna sue us.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, so that's pretty much what this is. We're gonna get together.
Come
We're gonna
back
talk
next week and watch us bake a cake.
Exactly. Out of
meat. We'll make a meat cake.
Meat cake.
This is not epic mealtime. Come back next week when we talk about the origin of zombies.
Exactly.
Or something else that we'll decide on the fly.
And kittens.
Maybe we'll have this thing named by then.
But at any rate, I'm Mike Keltner.
And I'm Malaria.
And you.
And I'm not munning it.